Welcome back, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make your drums sound better with this one trick coming right up. If you haven't been here before, my name's Cameron Fleury and I create videos educating drummers, making drummers laugh, or just making people laugh in general. But today we're going to be looking at drum mixing. So let's go over to the computer and I'll show you exactly what we're working with here. Alright, so we're over here at the computer. I'm just going to show you my Reaper session here. This is just like a genty thing that I'm working on. I am using Drum Shots by David Otero. By the time you guys see this, it might be out. David has recorded a Legion, Archspire, and the new Cattle Decapitation record. These samples are from that, and I'm going to show you how I've layered them inside the session, etc., etc. Let's hear that without the guitars, and you can get a better idea of what's going on here. Okay, now the only thing I'm actually triggering in here is the snare top and the kick in. There are two original sound sources that I've kind of EQ'd before I put them through Trigger 2. If you don't have a triggering program, Trigger 2 is great, but DrumForge also makes their own version, and I believe Reaper has a free version inside this DAW as well. Now for the snare, I'm just gating it first with a stock plugin. It's really great on Reaper, and then I'm adding Trigger 2, and then I'm also using the DrumForge DF clip just to add a little bit more clipping to it to give it some more perceived loudness. And here is the sample here by David Otero. It's called Genera Dry. Dry it is. So I've kept that at Unity. In the mix I have it at about 49%, and then the detail here is not too great, but I will show you exactly what it looks like in this program. Okay, so that's what that looks and sounds like. Let's hear it just soloed, and then I can show you guys how I built up the snare sound with the sample. In fact, I'm not actually replacing the whole sound because that defeats the purpose, and I quite enjoy the process. I've added a snare bottom mic as well as some parallel compression in a separate track, and I'll just show you right now what the snare top is sounding like. So as you can hear, there's like quite a bit of ring and some drawn out stuff. Now let's hear my snare bottom. Okay, there's not much to it, but it's adding a little bit of that sizzle to it. And then over here is the parallel compression where I'm just squashing it with an SSL comp. So you're probably wondering, yeah, that's all nice and stuff, but let's hear your snare without that effects on the snare top. So here it is, just raw right off the SM57 top mic. So as you can see, it actually adds a lot more fullness to it, and obviously too, with the clipper it adds some more volume. With David Otero's drum shots here, you have a selection from a few different snares, and you could actually add some room into it. And there's also some like pre-mixed stuff too. Keep in mind these are to be used as like an accent as far as like hitting the rim shots and stuff go. You don't want to make all the velocities sound equal across the whole mix, because really your drums need to sound dynamic, and you are only using this to help actually build your snare sound. Also in this pack is a bunch of kick drum sounds and tom sounds. And personally, I don't like to replace my toms because I have a nice Mapex drum set over here and I don't think it really needs replacing. But my kick drum, it does need enhancing, and I've got some triggers that help me do that too. But in this case, I'm just throwing Trigger 2 on the kick in signal. So I'm blending the original sound here, running it through an SSL G channel, and then I'm giving it a bit of color with some of their EQ, taking out some of the low end here around between 40 and 50 hertz, and then I'm adding this sample called Wolf Kick from the David Otero Drum Shots package. Here's the dry sound. And there's like a smack enhancer too, you can blend in with that. Let's hear that. And then also there's a bit of reverb on this version too. And let's hear that. So as you can see here, I've tuned it down about 5. I didn't think it really sat well in the mix at 0 and how the sample came. So thankfully in Trigger you can tune it. And let's hear what that sounds like soloed. The mix is at 60%, not 100%. I'm not completely replacing it. I'm helping enhance the original sound. So let's hear what it sounds like when I dial it back and in with the original sound. Original sound. And 100% is a little too much, so I usually keep it at about half, give or take. And I'm not doing all the hits too, so as you can see the detail's not too great, just enough to get that that initial transient to pass through the threshold so I can trigger it properly. Let's hear that without the trigger 2 on it. So just open this up, take it off, and let's hear what my kick sounds without trigger on it. And in a mix. Okay, so it's not bad, but I think it needs like that extra little bit of like wideness and huge like in your face kind of stuff to help cut through. Especially with metal, extreme metal and genty stuff, you'll want to like consider getting some drum shots. Now there's another little slower section here I want to show you guys too, because on the room mics here, the room mics are picking up a lot of like the ghost notes and the subtle nuances that I'm playing that the gate chomps down on. It doesn't get triggered, but the room fills that in. You get the loudness of the big rim shots, and then you get all those little subtleties come up through your room mics. Let's hear a section here where you can see that. You could obviously hear that it's not completely triggered all the time. You gotta let it like naturally breathe. If something sounds good, it sounds good. Basically, you don't want to completely replace it and like defeat the fact that you have a bunch of nice gear. Try it out and let me know how it goes for you. So that's a little bit on my process for mixing drums, and I wanted to show you this new sample thing because I only started dabbling with it and it turned out to help my sound a lot more. So why would I oppose to that idea? Thanks so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, please leave me a comment below if you have any other ideas. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good YouTuber stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Cameron, and I'll see you in the next video.